Why I chose the starvation diet. Had I not chosen a starvation diet, I would not have been able to cast out, or better, with, withstand some of the stronger demons. One thing is for sure, I do it maybe too much. I make fun of, I cast aspersion at the modern day faith healers all the time with their heal and cast out the demons, especially that demon chaser talking about they cast out 30, 40 demons. I don't know. I do know we have the Spirit of Christ reflecting from a real substance that we trust, has written a book that we are living a part of as it is being God breathed, so to speak. I know we have it bad right now, but at least we're not those, quote, people who were in the twisted, faithless, that's the quote, the twisted and faithless generation. First, they chose Barabbas, and then they chose the mark of the beast. Remember what they said when they chose Barabbas? The Pontius, the was that the king, whatever. Pontius Pilate was going like, "You might have misunderstood me. Here's Jesus. You could let him live." And they said, "No, we want Barabbas." And he goes, "He hasn't done anything wrong." He goes, "Let his blood be on our hands and our children." They chose Barabbas. Their children took the mark of the beast. They chose Barabbas. The Barabbas, a love of money or something, right? First off, first thing, before I even show the thing, get a load of this sandal. I want to know, does this look, just get a load of that sandal. Here's that thing that I like to show. There is a war going on for your pocketbook. No, there's a war going on for our soul, for our very spirits, and for the youth of America. I don't want people like the younger people say, when do they stop drafting people? That those people that might get drafted, I'm not a fan. I don't want this war to keep warring on, but I have a feeling it's only going to get better. There's my fair use statement. I can say anything as long as I don't recommend anything. But since I recommend Jesus so much, let's look at the. Nope, that's not it. I showed those the other day. So I showed, these are the three shorts I did. Did I show this one? President Trump saluting with a hat on. They call that a disgrace, I guess.
Okay. What's praxis?
Nerd. Then I did this, Laurel Canyon, Beverly Hills. The This is where the people in the Charlie Manson murders. Remember? When I get to the bottom, I go back to the top of the slide. When it stops, then I turn and I go for a ride till I get to the bottom and I do it again. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look out, helter skelter, coming down fast, but they're miles above you. Hey, they got Yorkie puppies for sale. Somewhere near there is that whole
Okay.
den of
What's
thieves things.
praxis?
It's a
What
praxis.
is praxis? Okay, praxis is action oriented toward changing society.
Okay. There's a gay lesbian agenda that they call a transgender praxis. Here's a forward Oscar Wilde said. And look, is that a map of Beverly Hills? Sure is. Nietzsche visited Beverly Hills. Laurel Canyon was visited by that McGowan. And that's where Nietzsche was telling him God was dead. Laurel Canyon was that fountainhead for peace, love, brown rice vibes that overflowed America's airwaves as the Vietnam. Luther the Truther, you know him as Yaz Will Soaring. There was a war back when we were little boys. You weren't even a little boy yet. You were almost a little boy. You might have. I get confused. I think you're like 10 years younger than me, so you were alive. You tie dyer. So this it looks older, doesn't it? Because of that beautiful Laurel Canyon. It just looked like an older book. I didn't know it was from the 70s. Hey, your voice matters. Look, this victim brought him 50 other victims. I wonder if Epstein was 17 and super rich. Would it be okay? Would it not be illegal for 50 girls to be brought to him? Here's $200. And from what I understand, they would strip down to their bra and panties and give him a massage for $200. And then he would go cook and eat babies and cannibalize them with other people that were higher ranking Freemasons or something. Anyway, people don't like this war. This is a poll that Charlie Cook took. Wow. 9 months ago. Darn near 9 months ago. 90 to 10%. Wow. Hey, there's that girl. Candace Owen was talking about her today. Isn't it wonderful that the John Birch Society has finally embraced a black young lady to talk it up? Talk it up. Go keep talking, Candace. These are things people we've been exposing for years and years. Welcome to the party, late coming Roman Catholic shrill, trying to get it in there with the Roman Catholics. They're demon pedophiles too. Huh? Don't frown. I know you get all see when we were talking about CERN and them doing that things, nobody took it serious, but because you're the frowning Candace and they made you mad. I'm so mad. Look at that. That is weird though. Come on. It's weird. Glad they're not wearing those sandals I showed you. Here's some of the first thing on there. Look, here's the sandals. Zach Mack bought a new Bible. I kind of recommend it. I kind of like the New World Translation. If there isn't by Dr. Beck, his translation, he calls it American translation, or I like the ESV, the Berean, and I've been reading out of this one. Zach Mack, look, we got the same sandals, man. Hey, comfort. But he said he liked this Bible. It looks like he spent some money on it. Probably 40, $50. And he opened it up and there was a globe. Here's the verse we studied the other day. Ecclesiastes. Because of the mud flood, all the streams don't flow to the sea anymore. We have the endork basins, Endoerh, endork, something like that. There's the earth. Laurel Canyon PSYOP. Even the computers are talking about it now. Look, this is obviously. Is it going to say? Yeah, where's it going to say? It has to say. Doesn't it supposed to say this is all computerized somewhere? I don't get it. This is obviously a computer breaking it down like we talk about it. Now the computer's out there racking up hits like a bandit with only 1,000 subscribers because it's so packed full of the
Electric
info.
energy of the 60s. Some people say this movement was born out of thin air. Others say it was manufactured. It depends on who you ask. While David was sitting in the back seat of his parents' car, looking out at the endless rows of palm trees, something new was creeping onto every radio station. Music that didn't sound like anything before it.
Come on,
Strange
baby.
harmonies, strange voices, strange lyrics. Something was waking up in Los Angeles, something powerful enough to change the culture of the entire country. And it all seemed to be coming from the
Laurel Canyon.
beginning. By early 1965, something unusual was happening in Laurel Canyon. What had been a quiet hillside neighborhood suddenly filled with people who would become the faces of the psychedelic revolution.
Is that a human? Why are they using these pictures? Why do they think this is the best way to communicate to the people? What are you guys with the chicken pox or what?
Living among American advisors during active conflicts. Individually, each of these stories might sound like coincidence: a musician with a military father, another musician who grew up on a base, another whose family worked in the defense industry. But when the list keeps growing, the coincidences begin to look different. Because these were not scattered
This is always a good reminder, and I'm going to go over it that these spies did it. Look, it was the OSS. Oh man.
CIA. Graham Parsons of the Byrds came from an elite Southern family with strong political and military ties. Even the pop oriented groups followed the same
They
pattern.
want to hold your
Michael Nesmith of
hand.
the Monkees served in the Air Force, and his mother's liquid paper empire tied her into high level corporate and defense circles.
It was called Whiteout.
His bandmate Peter Tork spent part of his childhood on a military base in Berlin.
And he became one of the first active nudists in the mid 60s, running around naked at his pool parties in Laurel Canyon.
Where his father was stationed as a first lieutenant during the Cold War. Joni Mitchell's father also had a military career, and she spent much of her life growing up on bases around the globe.
So they're assuming, I guess, she got abused. All of these guys did. Whose dad are you?
Dennis Hopper, known for playing counterculture rebels, was the son of J. Millard Hopper, an operative in the wartime OSS. Between the three of them, they would go on to produce and star in films like Easy Rider, The Trip,
Get your motor running.
Head, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. These movies created the first mainstream visual definition of what the counterculture looked like.
They were looking for adventure and a feeling they were under.
Inside. This was the military's top secret Hollywood movie studio, and the place was massive.
Yeah, they were going to learn how to fire all their guns into explode into space. It's like a true. They were born to be wild.
So big that it needed
Nature
two
child.
underground parking garages, its own helipad, movie theater, and even its own fallout.
Born to
This was the
be
environment that would birth the psychedelic era. And the deeper the story goes,
trained to be wild.
the stranger the landscape becomes. In those same early months of 1965, when musicians were suddenly appearing in Laurel Canyon and forming the genesis of
Look at that's only 17 minutes into a 53-minute. Who wrote this? Are they finally? Is this how they released Flat Earth? Hey, the monkeys did it.
the Monterey documentary, did not just showcase a movement. It brought it to the silver screen and added surround
Look
sound.
at that. Ian Fleming's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Ian Fleming, who with Aleister Crowley worked at the MI6, and they were had this one thing. And we're going to be going over the Bible about antinomianism might come up, and that meant against law, no law except that which they thought made them go woohoo.
The clothing, the language, the music, the lifestyle. For
They
many
wanna
Americans, it was their first
do
glimpse
more than hold your hand.
into a world that looked completely different from the one they knew. Among the musicians, Owsley was also in attendance, and at the event, he unveiled his newest batch of LSD, known as Monterey Purple. According to multiple accounts,
Wow. Monterey purple. That must be that purple haze.
known as the Spiral Staircase in Topanga Canyon, members of the family reportedly mingled with musicians, actors, and producers who were part of the expanding counterculture scene. For a time, Charles Manson existed right along with the celebrities and well-connected individuals in the canyon, each one inspiring the others and building the culture from the ground up. The final strange detail is how often Manson should have been locked up, but wasn't. In the
That Jolly West, Dr. Jolly West, kept getting him out of trouble, but he also was the guy that was the last guy that talked to Jack Ruby before he just snapped. He snapped during an interview with Dr. Jolly West, Charlie Manson's parole officer, doctor, something like that. Ben days, there's nothing. What kind of calendar is this? 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. Computer stuff.
followed, a shift began. A new cultural target emerged, and the era of peace, love, and artistic awakening was replaced by something entirely
Yeah, they took something good, they gave it, and they said, it's bad. Look what Charlie Manson did. When I'm thinking maybe you need a vision quest.
body was stolen by friends, taken into the desert, and set on fire in
Yikes. At Laurel Canyon? This is where they made the movies and the come on,
his
get
work spread
happy.
across forums, blogs, and early social media. And suddenly, his research was being studied by people all over the world.
Who?
The core idea was simple but explosive.
Is this L. Ron
The
Hubbard?
counterculture movement that reshaped America may not have grown naturally from young idealists and
Huh.
musicians.
What?
It may have been directed by the same institutions that the movement claimed to resist. People who were supposed to be symbols of rebellion were connected to
Come
the same
on,
power
people
structures
now.
they urged the
Smile
public to
on your
reject.
brother,
As more details
everybody get
surfaced, the
together.
questions became harder to ignore. Why did so many of these musicians arrive in Los Angeles,
Daddy told me to go there.
archive his work, share it, and preserve it? There was a growing sense that the investigation had reached a turning point, and that the story he uncovered still had chapters left unwritten. When David McGowan passed away on November
Huh. He wrote a book. It's right. They
the
did it.
unbelievable stories presented that forever change our lives and where they come from. Who writes the official myths that somehow become nostalgic memories?
Could it be Satan?
Science, the best that science has to offer, the most ingenious people. And indeed, I would agree that it's modern science. In fact,
Man, that is some good microphone work right there. Hey, I hit play. That's the richest, one of the fourth richest man in Great Britain, in London, the city of London. Her husband, permanent member of parliament by law since the 1600s or something. Whatever. She just jumps.
Tucker
Go.
Carlson, he is trending right
Tucker,
now. By
Tucker,
the way, he's
he's
trending
another Roman Catholic that's just out there preaching. Popes don't do the pedophile thing anymore. That's old news.
always. What he is doing right now is so remarkable and so brave, and he
So
is
brave.
challenging the conversation,
Oh my
changing
goodness.
our
Only Roman Catholic hero. Go get him, Sir Lancelot. Who are you? To me, you're Ivanhoe.
because we grow up and we learn that there are in effect really three major monotheistic religions in the West. So
There's only one. It's called premillennialism, Flat Earth Nation, Golden Age, past, big smiler, big smiler.
the idea that actually there are people that are in charge of Western governments
No, we believe in one God. One God. Talk about the Maria Abramovich. I thought you were going to jump right into it.
and pagan practices are still happening in the real world. Okay, maybe in some remote third world village in Africa, but in the developed Western world
Like Haiti,
at the
maybe.
tippity top of government, you would
Yeah,
be mad
the chippity top. Boy, that's some rhythmic iambic pentameter right there.
to even suggest it, even when it's actually in our faces. Take, for example, this recent
Yeah, do it.
Paris fashion show
Let's see it.
collection from a brand known as Materier Fecal. Just so you
Ooh,
know, that translates to fecal matter.
huh.
Wow, must have really been an inspired show.
Yeah.
Fecal matter. Wow, no, so in
Huh.
your face, but don't you take it the next step
Will you wear
further
this dollar
and
bill for
think
a
that,
dollar?
these people could be into some dark stuff. That would make you, again, a crazy person.
Yikes! I'm gonna jump ahead here. Listen to this.
Statue of Shiva stabbing a woman in an occult ceremony for CERN. Well, you guys, that's just science. That right there that you are looking at on your screens was science, the best science, the best that science has to offer, the most ingenious people. And indeed, I would
That's why
agree that it is
look at that. And I know people that used to go to these John Birch things, and they would talk and convince him and say, "Now, could you go and do this same lecture?" And they'd pick out the people that could. And I mentored under Dr. Paul D. Lindstrom, one of a good speaker.
of it, notes around it. I'm going to show you that now. We just took a picture for it for
Oh,
you to see
no,
it there at the bottom. And in
it's
case
fine.
you can't see what is pointing to the middle, it says place of sacrifice or worship.
Right there.
Okay. Place of sacrifice or worship in the middle there. So I want you to note that in this
Nice.
Freemason Bible, let me demonstrate that for you. You can see that right there.
Huh. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this
Again,
would be
it
the
was my
5th.
independent study into
Ooh,
Sigmund Freud
yikes.
that led me to learning about a
Wow.
hexagram or a pentagram. In
Huh.
mystic Jewish lore, the ring is very
Welcome to the party. It's the Rosicrucians, it's the Jesuits, it's the globe lovers that changed everything and are now trying to make people believe they can go to NASA. Who's this nerd? Oh, she loves these Roman Catholics.
It has a more so that its distribution becomes
I never knew any. Could you tell me you never knew anybody that was charged with diddling children? You never knew it, that somebody got transferred and didn't get arrested because somebody signed a payment disclosure. Candace, can he say that? He never knew anybody that was involved in that got away with it because of the non-disclosure and the payment of billions and billions. This is the guy you want me to listen to? I got a better idea. How about no? And this guy, really? You want to take Tim Dillon serious?
So you think about it, you say you have this how do you direct
What?
a guy
What?
like that who's
Are you talking about yourself? I can't. When I see that guy, I click it off.
economic viability. So when you buy
Oh,
silver to
there you go. Go buy some silver. You got to pay the bills.
definitely marketed themselves as pro peace, him and Vance, that was the ticket that they ran on until Bibi Netanyahu said Venezuela's anti Semitic. Then we took out Maduro. And guess who benefited from that? I loved this headline so much. Venezuela sends first oil shipment to Israel in years in signs of relations improving. I bet relations have improved. Hey, look, America.
Blah blah. So it's a war.
We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher
So they started the war, but they did it for good moral reasons. Is this a computer?
without an inner ordering principle. The middle voice of the verb makes it reflexive. They are doing this to themselves. Lawlessness as a lifestyle, not a lack.
The computers again. 35,000 subscribers for like if you click on their deal here, and then you click on this thing here, and you go to their awakened believer thing, they're not believers. They're all Gnostic all the time, man. Look at the books they sell. Manly Hall? Andy Bassett? Those guys are complete Rosicrucians. Come on, man. So the deal is, I'm going to be doing that announced study on Hebrews, hopefully over the next 3 mornings with RJ. And tonight we'll be looking at pre-crime. No, I'm just kidding. We'll be looking at these other Bible verses. JK, I just use your thing as a, uh, comic relief, little light humor, because we're at war. Gas is crazy. Everything's crazy. So here's a good verse. We're going to start with this one. And then I will declare to them, never knew I you. Hey, you, depart from me. It's what he says to those working lawlessness. That whole, there is no law. Remember that Aleister Crowley thing? The exact words escape me right now. There is no law except that which I feels good, do it, or something like that. So this is pretty straight up, not a lot. 6 times? Something, no? 15 times? Every lawless deed. I hated iniquity, lawless. I won't, some people are forgiven. They'll remember their lawless deeds no more. They transgressed the law. 1 John 3, verse 4. If you practice transgression, you'll find out. Did you know that right after this verse here in 3 and 4, where it's talking about this lawlessness, is the big time hint of where all of this started? It's the devil. Because the devil, here you get it, the devil has been sinning. For this reason, it was revealed the Son. God as Son, so that he could destroy the works of the devil. Because the devil was sinning from the beginning. And that's the reason he had to create an earth so he could be revealed to us. We'd be given the grace and the faith. And here you go. So there's the lawlessness that we want to look at. And that is why he was saying, I never knew you, never knew. He's declaring to them, I don't care what type of works you're going to tell me you were doing because of this. You have, it's adios, depart, draw away. Now, if we look at that word, the actual, I doubled that up. I was going to hit one of the words that had it as 6 times so we could see it's those who practice lawlessness, commit lawlessness, do iniquity. It's not you. Hopefully that's not you. Yeah, you can't even be accused of you can't say I never did it, but you can't say I'm in the habit. I still am doing that. So that was the big pain there. Now, in Matthew 1, he did not know her. Matthew is telling us that Mary and Joseph did not have sex until after Jesus was delivered and adored by the angels properly. It's obvious he did have other brothers and sisters. Now, don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing when it comes to being generous to others. I never knew you, depart from me. And no one, see that no man knows it. So everything that you do, whether it is in silent, whether it's word, thought, or deed, nothing shall be hidden that will not be known. That's a whole lot of everything that will be known. If you had known. So it doesn't always mean sex, which is what the Gnostics were going to try to imply. It becomes, there is a lot more to sex than, I heard that you produce eggs. I'd like to donate some seed. That's not the description. That's a description of a sex hunch, not a sex drive. So you're aware of different things, before and after the act. Like Joseph knew her in a different way. Okay. So they're wrong about that. That it, with their implication, they're gonna, you know, who knows what the Kabbalah is wanting to do, but the idea is you have to depart. I didn't know you. We weren't acquainted. You weren't really practicing what I told you. You were practicing what you thought somebody told you about me 3 times. When you're looking for a root word, you know what you like? You like the root word to be strong. So he hardly departed from him before this demon was like one of these, like, throw him in the fire ones, and then it had hardly been cast out, and then he was all settled down again. It hardly departed from him, and he was all settled down. This was one of the guys that could break the chains or something like that. Let's look it up in 939. This was one of those stronger demons. He doesn't get into that fasting and prayer thing, but he does tell them, he called them, you faithless, twisted generation. I begged your disciples to cast it out, but they could not. Well, they weren't doing the whole fasting and praying thing. They weren't taking it good enough. But this is one of those demons that did that whole thing of, threw him on the ground and convulsed him. 39, the spirits can seize him. The child, the possessed, will suddenly cry out. It convulses him so that he starts foaming at the mouth, and it shatters him to doobie, and it will hardly leave him. It's hard. Fasting and praying, again, it's the veil's being lifted, but we're still, that's not the verse we're dealing with right now. But we do know it's the whole adios, depart, goodbye. There's no more sticking around here. You must not have done something right, because it's, depart from me. Here's 6 more. Irgazomene. I don't think that's how you pronounce it. From me, you practicers, ye that work. So if you've been working on the railroad, it's you guys. Hey, those of you which minister, perform, even if you're, like you're a Levite or you're an usher collecting, something like that. You're raw. You keep working. You're raw labor. You're working hard. It's a current, present tense type of situation. Go work today in the vineyard. Okay, you traded with them. You're actively doing good, not actively doing bad. Let's kind of look at this one here. Let's kind of look at it in the New Living Translation, 18 and 19, because I think we should start with 17. Here, you corrupt, you faithless, you corrupt. How long must I be with you? Now, how long must I put up with you? Bring that boy here. Then the boy had the demon rebuked, and it left him. In the New Living Translation, then Jesus rebuked the demon in the boy, and it left him. That's why people like the New Living Translation. It's just pretty good. From that moment, the boy was well. Afterwards, the disciples asked privately, why couldn't we cast out that demon? You don't have enough faith. Jesus told them, I tell you that if you had faith, even as small as a mustard seed, and we all know and agree that's pretty small, you could say to this or that mountain, move from here to there and it would move. Nothing would be impossible. That is, you know, we are, let's look at Hebrews. How does Hebrews put that? Is that in the New Testament still? Yep, there it is. You'd think it's like Hebrews. Scoffed at. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame. Okay. Divine discipline. Remember that God is treating you as his own children. Who ever heard of a child who is never disciplined by his father? Wow. We're to work at living in peace with everyone. And here's the deal. They and we had not come to a physical mountain, to a place of flaming fire, darkness, gloom, and whirlwind, as the Israelites did at Mount Sinai, where they heard an awesome trumpet blast and a voice so terrible that they begged God to stop speaking. Now, I have enough faith to believe that. I have enough faith to believe in talking donkeys. If Jesus could walk on water, he probably could have walked through walls too, even before he was, his resurrection. He is that. But again, like in tomorrow, we realize they had faith. People in the old faith earned their good reputation by it. We believe that it was formed at God's command. I trust by faith. I don't need mountain moving faith to believe Abel did bring a more acceptable offering. I don't care how many times people try to act like it's no big deal that Esau despised his birthright. Show me one scripture where it says, and thus spoke the Most High God. Jacob is a dirty scoundrel. I hate him because he lied and stole it for no reason. Instead, is not Jacob always the guy who was like, thank God he realized you should never despise your birthright? I hope you get that, and I hope you get that strong, because that is what leads to Jesus, and there is no other way. Now, if you're one of these people that's going like, I hate Jacob, I have every right to question your salvation. And I do so right now. Let's look at this stuff here. So here's that Laurel Canyon. I wanted to look into that more. What about it? Look at that. They had to really cut out that part of the mountain to make it level. My guess is this whole mountain is hollowed out like all those other mountains in the world. I'm saying most of the mountains could be hollowed out. Let's make it bigger. Because that way you can see the wall. Although it's hard to get pictures of the actual wall. This is the studio. I'm thinking, like they said, deep underground studios. Famous to people there. Look, there. I don't even have to look. There's the Bob's Hope. Nice. Brand new, right up there. Lookout Mountain Laboratory, Air Force Station, 1352. That's the 1,352nd Motion Picture Squadron from 1947 to 1969. They didn't need it because they decided to go with the fiat money. That's a stretch. They made some movies. They made them 600 movies. They're classified. There you go. Just looks like a friendly place. Cheap, close to where they were practicing with their fake atomic weapons. Very innocuous, you know. Finally, a large cache of items, especially film reels, were eventually recovered by an official from the Defense Threat Reduction Agency Information Analysis Center and brought to one of its facilities at Kirkland. No, not Costco, Kirkland Air Force Base in Albuquerque, where they now sit. Alas, still classified. Huh, that's weird. Hey, did you know that these guys, they raided the Spawn Ranch, resulted in the arrest of Charlie Manson? They worked at the Haight Ashbury Free Clinic. That's where he kept getting out of jail. Lewis Jolly West, he did it. He killed all the people with his mental drugs, and he made them break, snap. Ask Jack Ruby. Oh, you can't. He turned into a blithering idiot right after a meeting. He said he just snapped. He just went nuts. He couldn't handle the guilt for the shot. He was the lone wolf assassin of JFK. What am I looking at here? Oh, it's a book called Chaos. Tom O'Neill, he laid it out. He had the inside situation going, consumed his time, led him in many directions. You know it. He wore it out. He got all the information, and then they released Flat Earth. And then they said, nope, we're not going to let Flat Earth, we're going to mock it again. And only the true believers, the ones on the narrow road, stayed with it. Dennis Wilson, he liked to work. That book, Chaos, pointed it out. Dennis Wilson, famous for being in the Beach Boys. No, they didn't want to hold your hand because they had gone surfing USA. So, a lot of things, bestseller, Manson murders, turned it into movies about drugs. Uh, Larry Sugarman, Daniel Sugarman, 12 years old, grew up in Beverly Hills. His neighbors were Fred Astaire, Steve McQueen, and Raquel Welch. I've heard of them. He was a Jewish. He was 11 years old. His parents divorced. So the next year, he started answering the fan mail for the Doors. He attended a summer camp with a couple of children of famous people, a famous golfer, and a famous comedian. Probably one of the most underrated comedians in the world, as far as like funny dude. He's funny. So at 12 years old, he started working for the Doors, like most kids. And at 17, he became their manager because the other manager got dead. Jim Morrison died, and this guy quit. He said, "Wait, I was only going to handle him until he was died," and then the 12-year-old, now 17, took over. He managed Ray Manzarek, who was, the organ player for the Doors. Iggy Pop, he managed him. Iggy Pop, you might remember him. He likes to run around with his shirt off all the time, and candy, 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 I can't let you go. Sugarman dated Mackenzie Phillips, famously raped by her father. He married Fawn Hall. That surprised me because she was one of the principals characters in the Iran Contra thing. She worked for the Colonel Oliver North to Alaska, way up north. Way up north. Did you know during World War II, they seriously were putting out the propaganda, and they had him on the West Coast, they had him on the East Coast. They took over a whole town that had tunnels and said, we're going to start making movies, and we got these dishes, It's not for triangulating your cell phone. They had to help win World War II Part 2. I wanted to get the full screen. I showed the thing. I'm not watching.
Most of us prayed and endured all.
This is our propaganda. The more early propaganda. Off we go into the wild blue. Oh my goodness, did they drop down, turn around, and pick a bale of cotton? Nobody's going to take what I had. Is that what Clubber Lane said in Rocky 3?
We couldn't be without it.
Bobby Socks. In the Mood by Glenn Miller. The Polka by the Polka Boys.
Of the United States of America and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In our press, we read the news from abroad that Nazis were spending millions.
So you go for right at the 33 minutes. See what they're doing.
On September the 1st, 1939, the Nazi army smashed into Poland.
Smash. Blitzkrieg. But once again, proving that the early days of war are often misleading. You can occupy, you can take over, but affording it for long. India, China.
On one side was the possibility, in fact, the probability, that one day these materials might be used against us.
So we decided to attack Iran?
Would the Nazis demand the French naval units at Martinique? Would the Nazis move into the Dutch oil fields at Curacao? Would the Nazis seize the French naval base at Dakar for invasion of South America?
Remember, we believed what the Nazis believed, white power, eugenics, evolution. We all believed it. They had white baseball teams and black baseball teams in the United States. If you were Jewish, you couldn't join a country club. If you were Catholic, you couldn't join a country club. I'm not saying I would join a country club that would allow them. But I don't know. I was never invited. That's a fake cannon. Hey.
Trucks were labeled tanks.
Because we were picking ourselves up by the bootstraps.
Berlin hired itself for us.
They were borrowing fiat money, fomenting revolution. You say you want a revolution? They don't say anything about the Lookout Mountain Air Force Station, LMAFS. Today, the actor Jared Leto, yeah, he's one of those guys. I think he's on the list. I think he's one of those guys that, come on. I think he might even be professing a conversion of types. He lives there now. Who knows what goes on there now? Probably get some pretty good views. Beginning with the Trinity. No, that's somewhere else. This is where they fake that. You think faking Dr. Strangelove is a big deal? No, this will never work. No, that's not good enough. Come on. Better. I like it. Operation Sandstone. Anything famous happening? Oh, famously weird actor owns the secret code. Hey, I didn't say that. Michael Rosen said it. 100,000 square foot movie studio. That's not even counting the house. Let's see. Operation Ivy. Good to get the Paraxis there. Dr. Strangelove. There you go. Ghostbusters. I'm kidding. But that's his house now. That must be his car. No, that's before he bought it. Everything from part of the moon landing was filmed here to they used to keep prisoners downstairs. They had laboratories. They were doing all kinds of God knows what, though no evidence to support his claims. But these people hung out there. A lot of the mysterious deaths involved there. Look out, mountain. Look out, Book of Hebrews. I'm coming after you tomorrow. So they faked it all. This war's not fake. Your gas prices aren't fake. Your fiat money's fake. The first motion picture unit, 400 propaganda and training films. Resisting the enemy, story of a flying fortress. Our propaganda is always good, and we never use clones for our president, so stop it. Hollywood's got a problem. Their actors are gay. It's a dream factory during World War II. Anyway, they hunkered down, and the same people that were hired to make movies for propaganda starting in 1933 with the works programming, they were hired to, they hired people to write books, write history. Here's acting, here's art. And the people that did the acting just picked it up and started making army propaganda movies. What they got paid to do. It's how you made a living. And if they had those little, fetishy, kinky, tweaky things they did on the side, it was in the closet. And it's always going, it should be in the closet. And people like I want to hang out with, we should be far away from them, not worried about our closet, worried about staying in shape in case anybody needs help. We're there for them. Because in the long run, it's all about you're saved by grace to do good works to glorify the name of Jesus Christ. If he's changed your heart, if you believe he's risen from the dead, in your heart, you believe he's risen from the dead, you will confess it with your mouth. You can't stop yourself because he's your first love. It's everything. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakame. Adios, amigos, from the border of southern Colorado and New Mexico. Can't find a better way to say goodbye than that.